ever had this feeling whenever you saw a dragon image, that you immediately want to mate with him? That is what I had the first time when I met a dragon that was very controversial. A dragon that I never seen again, never felt even again. From this one moment that I've seen him, that was not a dragon that was connected to my dragon circle, but it was a curious dragon. A dragon wants to know who I was. A dragon wants to know everything about me. That didn't lie or didn't say that much, but he was very interested in what I was doing there, and what kind of an energy that I had, and what kind of a connection that I had. What I felt with this dragon, it was a complete new feeling, a feeling that I could not hold myself in control. And it was a male dragon, and I had this again later on with a dragon that was by my circle, but that was just very strange, because this was a dragon that was not connected to me, but it felt like he had a lot of energy. And whenever he told me his name, I stepped back. And I told you this story before, but this was actually strange, because I never seen him again, and I actually wanted to see him again inside of dreams and visions, or maybe even in my bedroom. And that doesn't make me a devil worshipper or something like this. No, it felt so pure, a pure energy, an energy that didn't say anything like, for example, the most necessary. Like if I ask him a question, then he answered. And I had actually a lot of questions, because this dragon named himself Lucifer. And I used to go to church, so I know that his name is very demonized, and I was actually stepping back inside of this vision, inside of a vision where I was inside of the void. And inside of the void, most of the time, you see the most horrible things, or you encounter the most horrible things, the most worst nightmares. But this was the most beautiful dragon. And I thought that Lucifer was a guy with goat legs. It used to be, of course. I know that this was a new form of him that they make of him, with goat legs and horns, and a guy with a long beard, and it's like ugly guy, where you just say no, stay away from that. But that brown dragon that stood before me was the most, can I say it, the most sexy dragon that I've ever seen. And I immediately had this feeling like, don't look at him like this, don't. And he was, and I didn't know that a dragon could do that, but he was smiling, knowing very well that I had to control myself in this vision. And I don't even know how my appearance was like inside of this vision that I had. How did I look like? Did I look like a human like I do every day, or did I also look like them? But I was actually concentrating as well on knowing that he was actually telling the truth. Does it feel like a dragon that stands before you? And yes, of course, it feels very much like a dragon, like the dragon that stood before me whenever I had my awakening. That is also what I felt. That I was actually questioning myself, is this Lucifer real? Is this real? Is this a real spirit? Second of all, is this a dragon spirit? A dragon that I never really imagined myself that it's going to be a dragon or something like this. Then I remind myself that a dragon is a shapeshifter. Maybe he shapeshifted in something that he knows from my mind, that he was reading from my mind, and that he made himself in the most attractive dragon that I've ever seen. Of course, that I had difficulties to control myself. I never had this with any human, with no humans at all. But with dragons, I sometimes need to be controlling myself. But this was the most attractive dragon that I've ever seen in my life. I will never forget the face of Lucifer. Whenever I've seen him, I bow down for him. That doesn't make me a Satanist, because I don't care about Christianity, and I don't care about these gods, and I don't care about Satan, because it's not real in my eyes. But whatever I've seen, seeing is believing. And I've seen a very gentle, pretty looking dragon inside of the void. The void is a place where Leviathan rules. Inside of Leviathan's void, I've met a dragon named Lucifer, and Lucifer was a brown-looking dragon that stood just on his two legs, then sitting down, and he was just looking at me, just talking without opening his mouth, talking inside of my head, talking to me, and I knew there was no danger, because what we have, my brothers and sisters, what we learn from the dragon is some kind of a spider sense. Like if something is not right, then you should not continue. But this didn't had anything tingling, because whenever there is danger, for example, I was with my dad on the road, and I was feeling this sensation very much like I've seen this vision where we are going to have a car accident, where because animals were crossing over the street, and I saw him driving 90 kilometers per hour, and I said, what will you do when animals cross over? Oh, I try to stop, because this will happen, so slow down, I said to him. And I was very serious, so he did it, and just seconds later there was a family of wild boar coming through the road. I mean, crossing the road. It was, my dad was just like, how did you know that? Because I had this sensation, tingling sensation, like there is danger coming ahead, danger. And whenever something is so evil, like they say Lucifer is, so evil that we all should be afraid of him when we enter his hell, his dominion, and actually that is a bit what the void is. And the void is where they show you yourself, your own demons. But he was over there, and I didn't had any of this sensation at all. No danger, no spider sense, but only a curious brown-looking dragon. And he was old. He was very old. He was wise. He was old. He was brown. He had large horns, and a very attractive body. So yeah, this is what I felt, and this is what I loved. I loved him. I loved this, and I love this conversation that we had. This conversation is not something that I will completely share. I'm so sorry that I cannot completely share everything, but I have the feeling that from these conversations that we had needs to be secret. That is also the conversation that you can have with your own dragon. That is very personal, and this conversation that I had with this dragon that he called himself Lucifer was also something very personal, very much personal, because he seemed to know a lot about me. He seemed to know a lot about my dragons. He seemed to know a lot about everything, even. Should we be afraid of someone, or a dragon that is being calling something like Lucifer, or maybe Lilith, or maybe Hecate? Should we be afraid of that because someone else is saying this? Of course not, because that is just the point. We don't need to listen to everything, or to anyone. We should not listen. Forget about everything when you start the Dragon's Path. Forget about everything they told you. Every single thing they taught you. Every single thing you need to forget. You need to forget about everything. Also need to forget that they're always saying that these are the bad guys and you should stay away from it. You should not even listen to them. Well, I listened, and it was so interesting. It even changed my life as also a dragon witch, but also in general. And I always, and now I don't want to sound like a Satanist, but I want to see him or feel him again. I want to see or feel this brown dragon that called himself Lucifer once more, because this sensation that I had, I want to feel it again. It was different with my dragon by my side. It was also a very, very strong sensation that changed my life forever. Whenever the dragons came by my side, it cannot be compared. It's different. because those were the dragons by my side. It was like lightning was striking me. Lightning was completely taking over everything from me. And that is what was happening when the dragon was here. But when Lucifer came, that was a different sensation. Different sensation, not a sensation of danger, a sensation of you should listen to him. You should listen to him. So sit down and listen to the story of this old man, old dragon. Just listen to the stories of him, because he has a lot of wisdom. He had a lot of wisdom. Why are they so afraid of him? Because he's an angel made by God? Well, no. He's not made by, like this Christian God is saying. He's not made by it. He's made by itself, by himself. It's just, the stories these are not correct. The stories are lied, so that we cannot connect to anything like dragons, like beings that call themselves like this, that we should stay away from them. Fear is what they needed. And I'm still wondering myself to this day, why did they need fear for them? Why are they why they don't want us to have these interactions with spirits that are so connected to us? Why do they create this fear? And why should we forget about all we know? Why should we forget about it? Everything that they said. Why did they create fear? And I came to ask my dragons this, and there was actually an answer for this, an answer that I came to understand why we should fear dragons like this. Why should we fear for them? I mean, they love us that we fear it, that we step away from it and never connect with them, so that we can never have our awakening. There is, of course, some kind of an explanation why they want us to fear them. And this is that if we use magic, and if we use our own mind, if we use the wisdom of the ancient ones, if we use everything what they had told us, and not from what humans have told us, then we are using our own strength, our own energy, and our own wisdom. Then we are eating from the apple of Eden. Then we are actually beside God, that we are next to God, that we are also God-like beings, that we should have compassion, and also that we should teach the ways of the gods, because we are one with them, and we are also as strong as them, as we can use magic, as we can use energies, that we start to understand about everything and how everything works. And that is also something that Lucifer told me. Lucifer told me the secrets of why they want us to fear them. And so, is this a lie? Is this the Lord of Lies? Well, actually, I have more the feeling that the Lord of Lies are humans. Humans that don't want us to interact with dragons, but don't want us to interact with any of the gods or spirits by our side. Because that would mean that we no longer listen to them, but to ourselves. And then they cannot control anything anymore. And that is the worst thing, of course, for humans, that they cannot control. And that is actually what is going to happen when we listen to the dragon. That is actually the wisdom of Lucifer. One of these conversations that I had with him, that they would lose control over you. And that is the entire point of religion, that they have control over you. But in spirituality, it is you. It is all about you, and you are the center of it. You are this Jesus. You don't have to listen or to follow a Jesus. You are this Jesus. You are the Messiah for yourself. And every single dragon and God are looking to you and no one else. And that is the entire point of it. And that is what Lucifer made me think. That is what Lucifer told me inside of Leviathan's void. Of course, he told me a lot more things. But like I said, not everything can be shared. And somewhere I know that I should remain this for myself, but this was very interesting wisdom of what he shared. They need to fear. They need us to fear the dragon. They need us to fear the void. They need us to fear Leviathan. They need us to fear everything that they cannot control. But in the end, if you lose your chains, if you break your chains and you open your wings, then they cannot do anything anymore. And this is how we should do our dragon's path. with wisdom and listening to them, so that we are free from everyone who is saying that we need to fear. We don't need to fear. Fear is a negative emotion. We need to love. We need to love ourselves. We need to love everything that crosses our path inside of the dragon's path. So I should not do a step back whenever Lucifer was approaching. I should do a step forward and listening to whatever he was going to say, because that was pure, simple wisdom. You can say Lord of Lies. I didn't detect any lie at all, because I was looking at it. I was careful for it to catch him with lies, but there was no lie at all involved. Only wisdom. Only the most beautiful dragon that I've ever seen. I mean, but I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all. I'm not ashamed at all, and I dare to say it. That was the most attractive dragon that I've ever seen.